November 2nd, 2024. I'm going to do a tour of our property now that we've been here for 6 months. This is coming up the private road that leads to the driveway. You can see that it is very wooded, very thick. Total property is 10 acres. Only 2 to 3 acres of that is cleared, and it is very much to the east side of the property. I'm not good at gauging that, so that's an estimate. But eventually, I'd like to clear a lot of this underbrush so that you can see the big, beautiful pine trees that are everywhere. But that will probably take years. So far I've been doing it with some little battery operated pruners to get the little bitty stuff out. But someday we'll get a little better equipment. So at the end of the lane, there are 3 other neighbors. We've met a couple of them. These are all 10 to 40 acre plots that were divided from the original 240 acre farm. So we're coming into our driveway. It is very long and very curvy. And very steep. The whole property slopes pretty steeply, which does make for some drainage issues. But directly behind me is the creek / part of the Sabine River that it's draining into, so we don't really deal with any flooding, certainly not up at the house level. Still coming into the driveway, here is a little clearing here in the front. I'm doing this to document my initial plans, what I've done so far in the first 6 months, and kind of what I would like to do long term. And I haven't really decided what this property, this little part of clearing might do. Maybe just a little pumpkin patch or something. We still have a lot of big trucks coming in, and that's where they turn around and kind of tear up the driveway and the road, so I wouldn't really put anything I didn't want to get damaged there. This is my favorite part of the wooded area. So this has been previously cleared, and ultimately I would like for everything that you can see within the circle of the house to be cleared like this, and then underplant it with a little woodland garden. My start to the woodland garden is these 3 hostas that ultimately should fill up that space as well. And then you can see just directly across the driveway is more crazy, just overgrown. These terrible vines are everywhere. They climb up trees. They're thorny vines. I don't even know what they are. But they're ugly and a nuisance. And someday I'd like to clear them out. So there's the house. And here in the front, I have the crepe myrtle tree in the foreground, was here. And then I planted these 2 fruit trees. There's a fruit salad tree here in the middle, and this one has a peach rootstock, and then grafted onto that are 2 peach trees, a plum tree, and an apricot tree. And then just beyond that is a little fig tree. It's really beautiful. I think the deer were eating the lower leaves, so I surrounded that. And over here, On this side is Eddie's barbecue compound, his big shed, the well house, his cover for the pit, barbecue pit under there. And then last weekend, we put in these 7 Sprinter boxwoods. And I'm looking forward to watching them grow up. In the beginning, I'll keep them trimmed as individuals and maybe plant some annuals under it, but over time they'll grow into a nice hedge to kind of cover up that wall. Our neighbors to that side have not put in their infrastructure or built their house yet, but they do have some cows over there. And we'll go around this side. This is my little she shed, my little garden shed. And I've just moved this gardenia over here. I had it on the front porch, but I think it wasn't getting enough sun. Quit blooming. I'm going to try it here for a while because I might plant it there if it stays below that window. I'd like to put a big hibiscus in the open area to the right. All right, coming into the backyard, I have put up a bird feeder station, but the birds have not discovered it much yet. The only real gardening I've done so far is my green stalk. I do have this black and blue salvia I want to put in the ground. It's pretty rainy today, so I might not get it done today. My peppers that I overwintered from Austin, they're doing great, very productive, even in their small little containers. I'm just going to overwinter them again. So, backyard is pretty much a blank slate. This is a very steep incline, and there's definitely some erosion issues. So I'm thinking about planting it up with some drought-tolerant ornamental grasses, large flowering shrubs, other things that will kind of anchor this soil in, and also create a little separation from the upper property back there. Again, I still want to clear out all that underbrush and little tiny saplings. This is my layout for the garden. Right now it is 19 by 19. There are cardboard boxes under all of that tarp, and I'm hoping that over the next weeks and months that cardboard will continue to break down and prepare the garden space for me. It's right in the middle of the backyard because there are so many trees here that the shade is pretty significant in the morning and the afternoon. So right here should be good. It's still pretty slopey, so we'll have to figure that out as we build the beds. My original intent was to build the beds with these fallen pine trees I've collected from all over the property. Some of them may work, but a lot of them are pretty rotted already and may not hold up long enough, so we may have to do things a little bit differently. But there is a whole pile back there, you can see, of bigger ones that might work well. Eddie also had the idea of building them out of some planks, and we could just attach the pine logs to the outside for the aesthetic of it. So we'll see how things work as we get started. Back here is one of my favorite parts of the property because there is what feels like a secret pathway, a secret walkway. It is certainly big enough that you could drive a vehicle through, but it's just a walkway, and it goes way back in there to another very small clearing. The kind of clearing where, I could grow some pumpkins back there, or might have chickens back there someday. Beehives, I don't know, but it's a fun little space, and then from there it goes into the creek beds. But again, more vines, more overgrowth. This is the herb garden Wesley helped me plant in the spring. It did pretty well this year, its first year. It has a cardboard underlayer, and our soil here is just a very dense red clay, so it'll take a few years to get some organic matter into that. I did add a circle of coneflowers in the middle, and then just some other herbs around the edge. Most of these are annuals, so we'll start over next year. Here on the other side of the house, this is the septic field. See the septic covers there. There were some roses planted here that are wild and crazy and only bloomed a little bit, so I don't really know how to take care of those. I may just take those out. But in watching, so this is a anaerobic septic system that has sprinklers to offlet the overflow. And so multiple times a day, there are sprinklers that go off on this entire side. And so, yes, the grass stays green, but I also thought, how fun would it be once this gets cleared out a little bit to plant a bunch of bulbs in here? You wouldn't want to put anything that was anything you would eat, or, you know, you wouldn't want to put that in a septic field. But bulbs, daffodils, I got some crocus, some others. So as soon as it cools off substantially, sometime in late November, December, I'll plant bulbs there. And then up front, we're back at the little cleared grove. One of the projects I'm most excited about is I have some flowering dogwoods on order. They should be arriving in the next week or two to plant right here. I'm going to put 3 of them right here and let them grow in the shade of the pine trees. That's apparently a perfect pairing up here. They like acidic soil, they like the shade cover. And dogwoods were my mother's favorite tree. So it's important to me, and I think that they will be so beautiful. This first year little fig tree has all kinds of figs on it. Look at that. That's fun. And it was a buy one, get one from the TN Nursery in Tennessee, which I also thought was appropriate. So I'm going to take that 4th one and plant it in a container in case one of the 3 doesn't make it. And that way I can replace it. But this is where we are at the end of 6 months. And I wanted to document this because over time, I really want to develop not only the big vegetable garden, but also woodland gardens all around the edge of the property. And there are some nandinas planted up in front of the house, but that's really all the landscaping in front of the house. That's an evergreen shrub. It's not really it doesn't flower. It's not very impressive so far that I can see. So I'll probably flesh that in and put some flowering things around it. Maybe some ferns, because there's moss all around up there. And you can see the great big elephant ear that loves its life there. The bird life here is a little limited. You can hear the crows. We have a lot of crows. I'm hoping over time, as I add more flowering plants and they find the food stations. We did have amazing hummingbirds this year. I ended up with 10 or 12 feeders, and I could barely keep up. They were going through 8 to 10 cups of sugar solution a week. But they've gone now. They're gone on to the south, and I look forward to them coming back. This tree is going to be fantastic, I think, in just a few weeks. This is a sweet gum tree, and in looking it up, it is supposed to have fantastic fall color, turns bright red. So, we'll see. All right, thanks for coming along for our tour, and we'll check it out over the years.